Let me just say that if I'm making a video, of course I'm going to love the game. But this isn't a review, this is how a lonely guy can justify talking about a game and record it so he can forget how hashtag forever alone he is. First, the most basic idea of what this is you have the high quality Polish medieval fantasy that could rival Game of Thrones and put it in the most nerdiest form ever, a card game. So if you're like me and love the world of the Witcher series and worried this was another one of those, let's ruin the franchise with this game like so many have in the past, looking at you Mass Effect, Fallout, Halo, Gears of War, Assassin's Creed, Star Wars, both the movies and the games. Maybe when you have so many disappointments these past few years, I expected a card game cash grab, but man, I will never doubt you again, CD Projekt Red. I would have never thought I would play a card game, and I'm glad I took a risk on it. I mean, I did love Gwent in Witcher 3, and I gathered every single card, dueled everybody, so it wasn't really a risk because the only downside is that it would get stale after 30 hours of only doing these same battles over and over. Yeah, you heard me. It's 35 hours going through 5 areas with over 110 battles. That might sound like a lot, but you have so much to do, and I especially love the one type of battle, which some did hate, but I'm not your typical card playing dude, so this wasn't an issue for me. But these puzzles were so cool, you were given a custom deck, some special rules, and you have to try to figure out how to beat that quote-unquote battle. Around a quarter of the battles are these one-time unique figure out how to solve the puzzles. Some examples are eliminate the creature without losing a single soldier, have cows eat corpses in the right order, match ingredients to troops describing a recipe to somehow kill a troll, outdrink your friend with alcohol. The amount of creativity in these blow my mind. Every single one was cool, and about a dozen of them were too hard for even me to figure out, so I had to look them up online, which could be seen as a negative, but I love being bested by developers. They have so many cool ones that I don't want to spoil, but they do have story ones that can be a mixture of your standard fights or some one-round special challenges like get your ally through a maze undetected while he tries to illegally steal something to legally help someone get married. So the other half has you doing the usual win by having the most points in each round and the best 2 out of 3 wins, and oh my god, the amount of cards you unlock and the mechanical depth they bring makes me hard. I know most card games are equally as awesome, but they're PvP focused. So before I get into more detail about the gameplay, I'll briefly talk about the story and how it ties into the gameplay. Plus, we all know the story is great as they already won tons of awards on how great their writing is, so I don't need to really sell you on that. So you play Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia, yes. It's a woman. It's amazing when it's well written. You don't notice the gender as you're focused on the character and story. I don't think she ever mentioned being oppressed, and this game is dark, and it would have fit in fine, but that's low tier writing. You only see and use Geralt once, but as this is a separate story, and it shows that the series has more to offer than reusing the main hero. Looking at you, Disney. You then meet a bunch of characters ranging from Raynar the Old Man, Gascon the Chris Pratt, Holy Eric, Peaceful Lydia, and Racist Ryla, and many more that you will grow to admire, love, hate but need them, or don't care because they offer nothing, or wish they would join and didn't mean to make that one choice that prevented them from joining because you read reviews saying choices were meaningless. So choices matter, characters can leave, and some have OP abilities that can win battles for you, so you don't want them to leave. A great example is Reynard and Ryla combo. He refreshes her ability and anyone else that has one, while she can summon a card of your choosing. Sounds cool, right? But this can only happen once per game. So you level up Reynard to refresh every 2 rounds if using the right setup, and this combo is deadly. So deadly that I looked past Ryla killing whole villages to fill her racist urges, just so I could keep her. Fair trade-off? I used this in another deadly combo to break the game, but I had to as the final boss fight was so freaking hard. So the game kind of forced me to break it. With that said, the game isn't perfectly balanced, so if you're thinking this would be a fun introduction to the multiplayer, you're wrong. None of these cards work the same way anyways, and you're here for the open world aspect, which is really cool. You go through the 5 regions trying to gather allies to help you on your quest to find Camelot and the Holy Grail. Jokes aside, you use these areas to gather resources that you use for both creating cards and dealing with choices in quest. And if you don't like the puzzle battles, you can skip them all and like half the other battles. So you could technically cut the game time in half to under 20 hours if you don't like everything. It might get tedious to gather all the piles of resources scattered around the world, but you get way more than you'll ever need, but I couldn't help my OCD require me to get them all. One more thing about the story before I forget. As the footage behind has shown, you do have voice-acted dialogue with very stylized art with basic animation for more of the main quest-driven parts. The bulk of the story is told through a text-adventure style method with tremendous detail to best help you visualize it. I don't remember the last time I ever used my imagination to create a story in my head. They did an excellent job with the audio to help you along the way. So that explains, without spending any more time, the story aspect.
This man forged arms for the Nilfgaardians. 'Tis true.
Said Meave to the crowd.
Yet you, Baker, baked the bread they ate. And you, Potter, stained the cups from which they drank.
If it weren't for you, your grace, they'd have torn me to bits with their bare hands.
He said, kneeling before her.
I thank you for speaking up for me. For my innocence, that is.
Now back to the cards. You can get characters, lose them if you displease them, gather a lot from quests, battles that offer non-duplicable trinket-style cards. I think there are around 30 of them that offer so many varied abilities for all kinds of builds. I do finally understand why card games are fun. After playing this, gathering all the cards, experimenting with them, the amount of ways to play is great. And it almost makes me want to play the multiplayer version. I think that sums up the game. Oh wait, the only thing I hated about this game, and it just pisses me off, is how you have these golden chests that you find through treasure maps, beating certain battles, and stumbling upon them by exploring. They give you cards and rewards for the multiplayer. I didn't spend $30 to open these epic chests that give you nothing for what I'm currently doing. I understand why they did it, but why did they do it? It's so annoying and demoralizing to open every chest to get nothing I need. And yes, knowing what they give, I still open them all because my OCD, they're shiny, I love the effects that when you get these things, when you open them, but I'll never use. So it's obviously my game of the year, and I can say that because it has done a couple things. Made me gamble and not regret paying full price. Finally play my first card game, and it also didn't ruin the franchise and makes me wonder how this even got made. As it's such a gamble in today's market. It's not a battle royale. It is following the cards trend with the multiplayer version that is free, but why spend so much effort and money to make this masterpiece to maybe convert some people to Gwent? I might if every game this year is complete trash. I do want to try Slay the Spire, but other than that, I don't think I'll ever play a card game again. I mean, this is the pinnacle. It's so unique and fresh, I can't help but want more. Just like the DLC for Witcher 3 was the best ever, they could do it for this game as well, which it won't happen because it didn't sell well because it's a story-driven, single-player, open-world card game. Let that sink in. Whoever was the lead designer and came up with this idea and saw it through, thank God for you. Anyways, get the game.